Welcome to Your Career Story podcast, a show that's designed for rockstar professionals looking for that extra booster shot of confidence in their careers. Whether you're trying to get clarity on a job transition, want some work-life balance inspiration, or need a strategy to snag that promotion or raise, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Jenna Viviano, ex-Wall Streeter turned startup junkie who now coaches hundreds of clients, empowering them to take back control of the job search and land their dream job. So sit back, grab a glass of wine, and prepare yourself for your weekly boost of career confidence. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Your Career Story podcast, Enneagram Bingeable Bonus Edition. I am super excited to have you here. We are talking about the Enneagram Type 3, which is near and dear to my heart because I am an Enneagram 3. So this one might be a little bit longer. Lauren and I have talked about it because she is also an Enneagram 3. But just as a reminder, folks, that the Enneagram is a tool for you. It's used for self-awareness. And if you're using it to potentially to understand your coworkers better, it is for understanding and compassion. It's not to fix people. So that might be an easy inclination, but please, please, please don't do that. We definitely don't want that. So let's dive right in. Enneagram 3.
Okay, let's do it. So the 3 is the effective person or the achiever or the performer.
We have to have 3 different names, don't we?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people will start with performer, and sometimes that will resonate with people. And sometimes people will be like, well, I'm not, on stage or whatever.
Sure.
Then achiever, that resonates. I particularly like the effective person.
Interesting.
Because I don't know, it just feels more positive.
Okay, I gotcha.
Because 3s are tremendously effective and productive. They're enthusiastic and highly motivated. They quickly move into action and accomplish results. Mm-hmm. Their challenge is to take time to listen to others and to build good relationships and develop them more long-term. Mm-hmm. They need to watch out for personal burnout because they can be a workaholic if they're not careful.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's true for you?
Yes. I think mine goes more in spurts. So it's like if I have an idea, like to do something, work on the house or something like that, I need it to be done that day or the next day.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm going to work on it until it's finished, and things like that.
Okay. I'm the queen of workaholism.
Yes.
I know that about myself. If y'all listen to my podcast, you know that I talk about that a lot. It's something I'm always working through. Mm-hmm. And I'm realizing, I think the Enneagram has given me that language to understand why I am that way, what my motivations are. So if you could share a little bit, what's the biggest motivation for an Enneagram Type 3?
Success.
So,
yeah.
Or fear of failure.
Yes, fear of failure. So 3s do not want to fail. They feel like their worth comes from what they do instead of who they are.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest challenge for 3s. I mean, even me having taught the Enneagram for years.
Sure.
I still had a conversation this past week with my husband going, sometimes I don't know why you love me. Like, I really don't. Because if I'm not doing super well at these particular things that I think a successful wife or mom does.
Yes.
If I don't feel like I'm succeeding, I don't know why you would.
Oh,
And it's such a hard thing to kind of, re-examine in our hearts over and over of, what's going on? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I, when I first meeting someone, slipping some resume points in there, and
I do the same thing.
All the time. And it's just like, well, okay, why do I feel like I have to do that?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people can read that as arrogance, but I think it's more of, I need you to know what I have to offer here.
Yeah. Yes, it's exactly what it is.
And if you aren't comfortable in just being, you have to show what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so that is the primary thing 3s are going to have to deal with.
I just feel that so deeply in my soul.
Yes, me too.
So if you're a 3, you probably are relating to this. And honestly, it's funny because I listen to what you're saying and I'm like, oh, that's me. Oh, that's me. Mm-hmm. And that's probably how a lot of other people are thinking whenever they're going through the other episodes of this.
Exactly.
And listen to them like, oh, that's me. Oh, that's me. Because I don't think about that through the other episodes.
No, not at all.
It's very interesting how this is, are you in my brain?
Yes, exactly. I know. It's so crazy how true so many of these things will ring to us. Mm-hmm. Now, there are a couple numbers like maybe the 9 that can relate to a lot of different ones.
Yeah.
That's part of the characteristics of their number. But for a lot of us, if we can be real with why we're doing things, it's like, okay, that is my motivation. Yeah.
Yes, I have to watch myself. Even this weekend, we were away on a trip. We were visiting with some new people, and this guy was very impressive in his career. And I was talking to him, and I wanted him to know that I worked at the New York Stock Exchange. Gosh darn it!
Yes.
So I led I could feel myself doing it. Led the question there, and it wasn't because I was trying to show off. I wanted him to be able to relate to me. That was important to me, and I knew that I had something for him to relate to. But I also wanted him to be like, "Oh, she's not a stupid girl,
right?
She's a smart girl.
Yes.
She went to the New York Stock Exchange. Dang, I loved." That's me being honest with you.
Yeah, no,
it's not my favorite quality, but that's true about me. So I do know that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about strengths and weaknesses just in general.
Okay, so strengths for threes, we can get things done. And a lot of my friends are like, man, my husband is a 3 also. So it's like, oh man, if
you guys are the most productive couple, I bet.
If we are on the same page about what needs to be done, for sure. Yes. And so, we can typically go, well, we're going to do this. And then we just start. And a lot of other numbers don't view things that way. They have to think it through. They have to mull it over. And 3s, if they have their sights set on something, they just do it.
Yeah.
They are pragmatists. They know what works and they know what it takes to make something happen. They're amazing at focusing on the task at hand. So sometimes that can turn into tunnel vision, which is one of the weaknesses, and, not being able to look up from the task until it's done. But they can always find a way to get something done. They can always find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
They're excellent at finding it, tweaking what's already working and executing strategies quickly. So 3s tend to do less of creating from nothing and finding something in the marketplace that's already really working and putting their own spin on it.
Interesting. Okay.
Do you find yourself doing that?
I'm thinking about that right now, where it's like, I guess I did do that. Because I always say that I like to build something out of nothing. So I built my business from the ground up. But at the same time, I looked at health coaches to see what health coaches were doing. And I was like, that's working for them. I could do that in the career space.
Right. You researched what the market was.
Oh, that's so wild.
What was successful.
Here I am thinking I'm very unique and different. That's my fourness.
Yes, that's your fourness. That's okay. That's okay. But it is, because it is yours.
Sure.
Because there are no new ideas.
Of course. We know that.
Everything's, we're all borrowing from someone. And I think 3s do have to watch taking credit for things that aren't theirs. So we have to really make sure that when we are being inspired by something, we're not just taking it.
So I can do that right now. Do you want me to do that right now?
Sure.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
So the idea for this came from Annie F. Downs's series that she did this summer.
Yes.
So I just took a different spin on it. So I'll be honest about that.
No, but it works for what you're doing. And you are finding a way to incorporate it into your brand and your audience. Yeah. And that's great. Yeah. It's great. I don't think she'd have any problem with that, would you?
I hope she'd be flattered.
Yes, I would think so. She totally would. So 3s work hard to be the best, but they also work hard to make their company the best. Yeah. So whatever team they're on, whatever group they're in, whatever influence they have, they are competing to win, but they want to bring the whole group along with them.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. So what are some of their weaknesses then? I mean, I know mine, but let me just air it out for the world to hear.
Let's talk about what you do wrong, Jenna. So 3s tend to escape feelings through productivity. When my husband and I were first married, the funniest thing would be like, if we would ever fight, like our house would be so clean because we would both just like immediately start like, deep cleaning the kitchen or something crazy like that. Yes. No, it's not usually, but just when I need to escape some sort of bad emotion. But what this does, especially in the workplace, is it puts us in a place where we are isolated from people. Now, we may be interacting, we may be friendly, we may be doing the right things that you're supposed to do, but you're missing that actual connection when you can't access some of these emotions because you just put your head down and get through it.
Yeah.
And it also is difficult in relating to other more feeling types because I think sometimes 3s can have this idea of like, well, I have to suck it up and get my work done. So I need you to suck it up and get your work done too. Yeah. I notice myself feeling that way a lot with people. And I'm like, well, we don't really have time.
Yeah.
We don't really have time to explore these emotions right now. Yeah. We have work to do. But I think sometimes all it takes is just looking up, taking a moment to connect, and then everybody is kind of met where they are, and then the work can continue.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to derail. An interruption is not the worst thing.
Yes.
Threes do not like to be interrupted.
No, I don't.
At all.
No.
And so that can sometimes in the workplace give off a feeling of being abrupt or rude. You know, even if you're saying, you know, I'm in work mode right now. I can't, you know, whatever.
Closes you off.
It does. Yeah. It closes you off.
I can see that. I never thought about it, but now I can see it.
It does. And it's hard. It's hard because you are so task focused that you really want to show your worth by what you've done. And people want to connect with you. So just finding a balance with that is something difficult for a 3.
Okay. Have we convinced you to get obsessed with the Enneagram yet? Yeah, we thought so, which is why we wanted to send you into this holiday season with a little something so you can continue your Enneagram education. Head on over to www.genevieveviano.com/type to download our free guide, Learn Your Type, Love Your Coworker. This guide is a complement to the bonus Bingeable podcast series, and we've made it stupid simple to understand the Enneagram, your type, and how it can work for your career. We really, really, truly believe that the Enneagram is the best tool out there for teams. So we want to equip you to be the best rockstar professional you can be. Again, head on over to www.genevieveviano.com/type to download Learn Your Type, Love Your Coworker. Okay, let's hop back into my conversation with Lauren. Awesome. So if you know of a 3 on your team, I feel like there's always a 3 in the workplace.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like there's always a 3 on a team. I can identify a lot of people from my past experience of who were 3s. How do you communicate best with 3s, whether you manage, especially if you manage one, honestly? I feel like that's really hard to manage a 3. But also just how do we love our 3s better in the workplace?
Well, okay. In conversations, 3s want to get to the bottom line first. So if you can say, hey, we need to talk about something. Here's the end of the story. Now I'm going to start back at the beginning and work our way there. So if 3s know where you're going and know what the end is first, then
Why are we like that?
I don't know. I'm like, I want the outcome because we're so focused on outcomes. Is it good or bad? And now you can track back and tell me the whole story of how we got there. But I need to know the outcome first because
Wow. I think about that even with strategy sessions, right? For my team, what we're going to do, my team of Sarah, she's awesome.
She's a great team.
She's a great team. On Friday, we're going to be going through this whole process. And so I've been mapping out the outcomes, not mapping out the process, because I really don't care how the process happens. I just care about how the outcome happens. Right. And so I'm like, you can worry about the process.
Yes, exactly.
I got to worry about the end goal. So it's so funny you say that. Sorry, keep going.
No, I think 3s are distracted if they don't know where you're going with the conversation.
Yes.
They tend to talk in bullet points. And so
sound bites.
Yes. Bullet points and sound bites. And sometimes that can come off as, too direct or too whatever, but that's just kind of how their brain thinks.
Yeah.
So if you are managing a 3 or a 3 is on your team and you need them to do something, you need to sell it because that is how they are talking with you.
Yeah.
So they need to know what the best option is. They need to know that you have compared the options. Because we're looking for that best outcome. So if you need to say, I need you to work on this. Here are the things that I have already researched. You do a little bit of research because 3s are always going to want to do that research to know that they have chosen the best thing.
Yeah.
But selling it as opposed to just saying, go do this, I think is going to be helpful.
Yeah. The selling piece. I feel like that's very true. I'm thinking about even my personal life, how that's
yes. Yeah. I need you to convince me why this is the best option. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Is there anything else on this end? Okay.
3s crave feedback. So with long-term goals, if you can set up like good increments of time to check back in and go, here's how I think things are going. Yeah. For managers 3s, here's how you're doing great. Recognize their efforts. So it's not just recognizing the accomplishment. You want to recognize the work that they did to do well. So saying, yay, you won on something, or yay, you were the top producer. That's okay. But they want to know that you recognize all of the time and all of the hard work that they put in to do it. even if they made it look effortless, because threes put some effort into looking like there's no effort.
Yes.
And they spend lots of time to do that. Yeah. So really, threes don't always need acclaim from everyone.
Yeah.
They have a few key people usually that if they don't get that attaboy or attagirl from them, it's hard.
Yeah.
So if you work or if you are managing a three, even if you don't do it publicly, but looking in the eye and going, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, it means the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
It means the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk with the Enneagram 3. What are some ways that we can grow if we are an Enneagram 3? Because I need to know that feedback. So let me know how I can grow now.
All right. So here's how threes are going to grow. So we talked about twos scheduling solitude. Threes need to schedule stillness. So stillness doesn't mean going on a run with a podcast in your ears and you think it's stillness just because you're not working, because that's still being productive. That's still learning something, accomplishing a fitness goal. You need to sit and do nothing.
Do you do this?
Not well.
Okay, because I feel like that is comical, because I literally was just telling someone, so what I do is I just pop in a podcast and I go for a run on the treadmill downstairs and I'm getting all those things done.
Yes.
Yes. I was priding myself in that.
Right. Well, and I think those are good things to do.
Sure.
But they don't accomplish this. So you can incorporate movement like walking or yoga if you want to, but try to leave any of the like measuring devices at home, like leave that Apple Watch that's going to close that circle. And I know that's so hard because we want to get the steps. We want to see the achievement happen. But when you have that space and you're not going for speed, then your heart just kind of has time to take a breath. And that's what we need so much. And it's as good for our souls, but also good for productivity because when your mind has that space, then new ideas come.
It's so true.
Yeah. And I think it's funny, a 3 telling you to be more productive by being still.
Yes.
But it does work.
It does work.
It does work.
I have read that too.
And it is good for you. It's good for your heart just to not be producing all the time, because you've got to be with yourself. Yeah. And I think that's something that 3s try to avoid sometimes.
Yeah. I was just telling a friend of mine actually she just had a baby and she was always be a career woman. So it was I'm like, oh gosh, that's going to be so hard for me.
It's hard.
I told her, I said, I'm going to speak this over you now so that I can speak it over myself later. You're not in a producing season. You're in a soaking season with this baby. You're producing, you're like making that child live because breastfeeding, all that kind of stuff. But you are literally in a soaking season. So you can just soak that up and you can just be still. And she's like, I'm going to see you try whatever.
Yes, exactly. It's like, so hard. It is. Yeah. It's hard. All right. So 3s need to work from a place of rest. So we're not working for rest. We're not go till we collapse. We need to practice resting first and then going.
Yeah.
And that's our bodies, but also our hearts and our minds. Yeah. I think there's so many ways to be distracted.
Sure.
That even if we're still physically, if you're binging on Netflix, your heart and mind are not still.
It is not the same.
And it doesn't have to be for, 2 hours at a time. Yep. Even just 5 or 10 minutes of sitting in silence with nothing to do is good.
We actually did a podcast episode it's the 10th podcast episode with Kristen McClellan talking about Sabbath and not working to rest, but then starting your work week from rest.
Yes.
And so if you guys want to listen to more about that, you can find that at episode 10 on the Your Career Story podcast. So anyways, keep going.
No, that's great. All right. So the last thing for 3s, this is specifically, it can apply everywhere, but this is really great for the workplace. Physically put down whatever is in your hands when you're talking to someone. So if they approach your office and you're with the laptop or the phone in your hand, or you're writing, or you're working on a painting, or wherever you are, if someone does interrupt you, I know it's the worst, put down whatever you have, look them in the eye, take a deep breath, and actually be there for those few moments. Because you can't multitask relationships. Yeah. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So if you think, I'm just going to finish this email while we're talking, or I'm going to check whatever that notification is while we're still talking, they see you check out. And that gives a sense of what we're doing here is not important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing that threes can put a task down for the sake of a relationship is really important.
Yeah, I love that. Those three things are so, I'm going to internalize and re-listen to this and do it myself, because I think this is valuable, again, professionally and personally. So if someone wants to learn a little bit more about their type, they think, I know a lot of people that listen to my podcast probably run in the 3 category. A lot of my clients typically do. So if they want to be sure, like, am I a 3? Where's the best place to find that out?
I like to start people off at The Road Back to You.
Okay.
It is a book by Ian Morgan Cron and Suzanne Stabile. You can take a test if you want to, but those aren't always the most reliable. You could also go to the Enneagram Institute website, and they have very thorough descriptions of all of the types, and you could read through them all. They even have how do these 2 types work in relationship with one another. And sometimes if you've got, if you're deciding, I might be a 3 or I might be a 1, you could go and look at 1's in relationship or 3's in relationship and see which looks more like you. But the best way is coaching or team building. So if you would want me to come in and teach your team all of these things and help your team discover their numbers, I would love to do that. Or one-on-one coaching is something that I would love to do as well. So
where can they find you at to do that?
Yeah, just come to my website, laurenelkinsgray.com.
Awesome. And she also has an amazing freebie for you guys. If you're interested in learning more about the Enneagram at work, you can find that at laurenelkinsgray.com/freebie. Super simple. We're going to have it in the show notes. Lauren, I love talking 3 with you.
Thank you. Me too.
I knew this was going to be our longest one out of probably all of them because we're both 3s. And so I'm going to really listen to this back. So guys, awesome. Thank you so much for listening. And we're going to hop on off and we're going to start recording number 4.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for listening to Your Career Story podcast. I would love to get to meet you. And there are a couple of ways that we can connect in between episodes. First and foremost, I love my LinkedIn. Second is via Instagram. And third is over on my website. I actually have a special spot just for you full of fun, free resources. So all you have to do is go to www.geneviviano.com/resources. Super simple, for a bunch of freebies that will help you boost your career. Hope to see you next week.